Hello legends. This video is the introduction to web scraping without using a paid API service. So this template that I have in front of me is basically using, I would just call it a mechanical approach to scraping websites, where it hits them directly. It tries to find all the URLs that are associated, so all the different pages on the website, and then grab that content and then put it into a Google Sheets. So then you can, I don't know, put it back into some kind of LLM to process or to do to extract certain types of data or bits of data that you want to get. So really, I think the two main use cases for this are you're already paying for a paid API scraping service and it's too expensive and you want something that's cheaper, or you're already using one of these paid services, or you're trying to scrape websites yourself and you just need very granular control over the data that you get back. And this is how you can kind of get closer to that space. So at a high level, when you look at a website like this, right, typically what you would get when you're first doing some kind of lead gen, maybe you're on Google Maps and you're getting a list of websites, or you have some kind of paid lead gen service, you will get the base URL of the website. And the base URL of the website, let's say we're in the menu section now, but I think if I just backspace this, yeah, you get to this page. And if you just do an API call to here, like a HTTP call to here, you can get the HTML content of this page, but you can kind of see I might be able to click around to like a different, like here we are, if I order online reservations, gluten-free, I can click to different pages. But straight away the URL over here, it's different. So I would have to somehow find all the URLs on this website to be able to scrape all the content. And right now this is like probably a pretty bad example. It's a pizza store, so like why would you want it from the pizza store? Or maybe you do, I don't know. But if you want to do some kind of like research into competitors and monitor the website daily, or like pull out all their product information and scrape it daily and whatever else, then like, yeah, you probably want every single URL of that website and you want to map it somewhere, you want to store the information somewhere. So at a high level, there's actually a couple of ways that you can do this. And the most common way is that you'll get the base URL of the website and you will add an extension to the end, a /robots.txt. Now, at a high level, robots.txt is what websites will supply to Google. So it tells Google what information to scrape and to I don't know all about it, right? But it's like they give it to Google. Google uses this robots.txt page as instructions of how to process that website and how to present it on Google itself, something like that. Any SEO guys here, they probably know more than I do, so put it into the comments. But when you get you can append this extension to the end of the base URL. So technically speaking, you would just do this and go txt. And if you hit enter on this, you actually get to this kind of page. And it looks like very techie and whatever else, but really what you find here is this sitemap extension. So this sitemap, this bit here, step 2, actually contains even more information about the website. And typically it either goes directly into a list of all the URLs on a website. So then you can literally take all those URLs and then go to each one by one. Or for bigger websites like e-commerce stores or blog posts, like blog pages, whatever, blog sites, they'll have a category XML page. So let's say, for example, here we have the XML. I'm just going to copy this and now I want to paste it into here. And by the way, when I'm pasting it into the search bar, what this is doing is it's making an API call, like a HTTP call to here. So exactly what we see on the screen is what we would see if we were making that API call within n8n or make.com or just directly from Cursor using code. So now we're in this XML sitemap and we have these high-level category pages, which if you click into one of these, for example, I have, let's say, mega menu sitemap, this extension here. So once again, we are now in this category XML. So if I click into this mega menu, I open it up, and now I have actual URLs that I can get to. And these URLs, which this is a pretty bad example, it makes more sense later. These are direct URLs that take me to certain pages on the website. So yeah, this is probably, it's a very bad example here, but if this was an e-commerce store, you might go into this category page, again, this category page, and you might have categories of products or categories of services, and you might click into like the products category page and it would list all the products that business has. So you can kind of see here that this way, like this is actually organized in such a way where it's easy for Google to understand what's the content, how's it structured, how do I find it, like how do I link to it, how do I use it. So that's why this robots is actually a very good first step when you're trying to scrape a website, because it will give you information on all of this stuff. Now, that's typical for e-commerce stores, SEO friendly stores, blog posts, like blog pages. They follow that, robots extension. You go to the sitemap, the category page, and the URLs. Exactly what we just did here, right? We went through that entire process. But not every website's the same. Sometimes the website, they might have the robots extension. You go to the sitemap, which is this, you go to this. And in our example here, we have this category page, right? We have this category, but sometimes it just goes straight to the URLs. So it goes straight to the URLs. So that's one option. Another option is they don't even have the robots.txt. It's maybe a small site, like maybe a very, like a mechanic store or a cafe or a bakery. They might not have a robots, in which case you can still actually access the list of URLs or the category. Like you can still kind of get to either here or into here or here, find the category or the URLs by guessing what the sitemap extension is. So even with this sitemap, by the way, it's just, if I go one step back, as you can see here, it's just the extension off of the actual home, like the base URL. So the base URL /sitemap_index.xml. So actually what happens is there's 4 or maybe 5 or whatever, like main sitemap extensions that you can put on, that you can append to the base URL to find the to get access to those category pages or the actual URLs itself. So let's say you do not have the robots, you can still just give all of these a try, and then maybe you'll hit your luck and then end up with the category page or the URL page. If this is confusing now, I'll actually show you in a second the actual flow when I go through it. But it makes more sense when I am going through it, because you can see that you have to have a very robust solution that will try this first. If it doesn't work, it tries this. If it doesn't work, it tries this. Because not every single website is the same. And then, the final option is that there's no robots page, there's no sitemap page, and you have to just hit the home page yourself manually and figure out how to grab all the URLs from there. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. This is pretty, depending on what industry you're actually targeting. If you're looking for information from e-commerce stores or SEO, very big built out websites, this is probably a really good process that you'll follow. Otherwise, there'll be a variety of different processes, like 3 or 4 other pathways. Okay, so to start drilling into the flow, the first thing we do is we're actually interacting with this system via a chat interface. So you can plug this into Google Sheets to iterate over each new row that you add. But for our example, it's easier for me to just use the chat interface. So I'm going to import a URL. And the first step is just an AI step to simplify this for me, but you can do this mechanically as well, so to speak, mechanically, where it's just you write some kind of script that does this for you. But we're just trying to extract the base URL in a specific format, because in our next step, we're checking for robots. So we input that base URL that came out of the OpenAI block, and we just /robots.txt, exactly like what we did over here. So robots.txt, so we can be met with this page and just check out, do we have a sitemap? So after we do that, there's actually 2 options that happen here. One, there is a robots.txt, or 2, there is no robots.txt. So like what we had over here, bigger websites might have it, smaller websites might not have a robots.txt. So we're kind of already having to just take some control and make this robust. So we're checking if we have a robots.txt. If we do have a robots.txt, we're going to take that sitemap that we get and we're going to extract it out. So this is basically saying, hey, you've got we're in the robots.txt page. Find me the sitemap that you see within anywhere on this page in whichever format it is. And then, just give me a JSON key value of sitemap that I can use in my next HTTP call. That's what we're doing here. Then we'll just literally target that sitemap. So what we're doing with that call is copying this, pasting it here, hitting enter. And this, what we see here, is exactly the output of this block over here. So that that list of stuff that we see is completed after here. And before I move on, if we just kind of pause for a second, So we had over here, if there is no robots, if there is no robots, we have to guess the sitemap. So that's what we're doing here. We're saying, all right, append the extension of robots.txt. Is it like, did that work? Did this HTTP call fail, or was it successful? If it was successful, cool, we go. If it failed, let's try each of those 4 extensions that we had. And if you click into here, you just see all we're doing is appending sitemap.xml. The next one is sitemap_index.xml. And it's all these 4 variations, sitemap with a dash and then sitemap.json. So we're trying our luck with all of these, and actually sometimes it works. Sometimes there's no robots, we go into this flow, and maybe this one works, and we keep pushing forward, and then we kind of, we keep going with the flow. So at this stage, in this merge block here, we've gone to the sitemap page. If any of these have worked, or if this has worked, we're now at the exact same checkpoint. We're on the sitemap page. So we're on the sitemap page like it is here. And the next thing that we're doing is, let's open up this. Yes, we're extracting all of the LOC elements. So I want to run this in a second and you'll see exactly what's going on. But essentially all we're doing here is checking, okay, if the stuff that's on this page still has a .xml extension, like this stuff does, it's got .xml, 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 we're in that categories page. We're now in here and we need to go one level deeper to get the URLs. Or we're checking if the URLs, like the actual stuff that's on the page already, is just directly like .coms or .com.au or whatever, but with no XML extension. It means we're on that URL page. It means actually this website doesn't have this category at all. It just goes straight to the URLs. So we're handling both scenarios here. And this OpenAI block basically tells us, oh, you're in that category page. And if we're in the category page, we take this route and then we kind of go one level deeper into the URLs page. Or if we're in the URLs page already, we go just basically, we just kind of fly through pass go and collect 200 and we complete the rest of the flow here. So let's say we're just in the URLs page, we extract each URL. So this code block just essentially takes all the URLs and gives us like the list of 5, 10, 20 URLs. We go to each one individually. We convert the content that we pulled out from HTML to Markdown. We strip it down a little bit to kind of remove some unnecessary characters, and we add it to Google Sheets. And over here, I've just got a Google Sheets that you can see. The output looks roughly like this. You will have the URL that you're adding, then you have the XML, you will have the website URL, the sitemap, XML, list of URLs, and the contents page. So you basically, this is a very high level, like you would build this out exactly as you wanted. You can break down these pages even more and have like whatever content you want to pull out. But this is just to show you what you can get from a report on this. So that's what we're doing on the top. If we directly have the URLs, boom, we take this path, we go to each page and we throw it into Google Sheets. And if we're in that category page still, we basically go to each category page, we rip out all the URLs from each category page, which could be 20, 30, 40, and then we just go through each of those website URL pages, take the markdown, strip it down, and add it to Google Sheets as well. So enough of the theory. Let's actually give this a crack. So this page that we had here, this is the pizza page we were just speaking about. So I'm going to open this up, and you saw we went in. We had the robots, we have the sitemap, we have all the other stuff. So I'm just going to go into this interface and I'm going to paste in the URL. You can see it's not the base URL form, it's got the menu extension at the end. I'm going to hit run and let's see what's going on. Okay, so in this case, yeah, for sure. We have the robots, we checked, we went to the sitemap page, and over here we took the bottom route because the sitemap had category pages, had the category sitemap. So then over here, we're going to each of the URLs that we pulled out from that pizza after going to each category page. And this might take a little while to process. There we are. And we're adding it to Google Sheets. So if we go across to Google Sheets, the most recent one is here. So we have the, Il Brifico, whatever it is, the pizza place, the XML if we wanted it. We have the list of XML kind of high-level category XML pages, list of all the URLs that we pulled out of here. And then we have the website data of each page. So we have, I think, more than 3. It's just not showing up on my Google Sheets right now. So that was the first URL. So we see the flow that it took here. Pretty cool. This is going to be a slightly different flow. So we have this tobala.com.au. What is this place? It's a bar. Okay, let's enter it into here. Let's let it run and let's see what happens. Okay, so in this case, same thing. We did the robots. We went to the sitemap, but now we didn't have a category page. We actually just had a list of URLs immediately come back to us, and then we added it to Google Sheets. So if we go across to our scraper, the next entry point is here. So we have the sitemap XML. So this is probably mapped a little bit incorrectly, but you can see we for the XML, this is completely empty because there was no category page XML. We pulled out all of the URLs, so the separate ones. This is a small site: home, contact, menu, bookings, and store, and then contents from each of the pages. So it's going to be a very basic site. Now there will be another example. Let's see how this takes us. Where is this? Here we go. Let's go into the flow. I think this one is gonna fail for us. So let's hit run. Okay, so over here, we checked if we have the robots. We didn't have the robots, and we took this flow, and one by one, we tried all the various sitemap extensions. So in this case, we actually took this route. So we tried robots, nothing's there. We tried all the extensions, nothing's there. And then technically here, you would have to just build out a separate flow for going to that website and then crawling it manually. But I think personally, like if I was to go to the Big Cherry or the Big Berry, you might just have to consider, like, is this a type of site that I would want to scrape? Like if it doesn't have a sitemap, it doesn't have robots, like maybe this is not competition for you. I don't know, but there's like, you have to kind of think of this in a strategic way. And finally, we have one more here. So this is going to be an interesting case for us to look at as well. So let's plug it in. This is a restaurant, very high reviews. So we're trying the robots. Cool, we have robots. We're going to sitemap. And from sitemap, do we have a categories page? Yep, we have a categories page. We're getting each of the URLs from the categories page, which maybe will take us a while. Sometimes it's like 10 category pages with 10 URLs per page. So that could be 100 sites that you're going through. And actually over here, like when you're making these HTTP calls, it's important to also add some headers, because some of the sites will have some, like, I don't know, bot or spam detection. And if it thinks that you're just trying to spam the site to pull out info, it'll just block you straight away. Now over here, you can see we ran into an error on Google Sheets. So that's another important thing I want to bring up. We've mapped everything correctly, but the error from Google Sheets is that there's a maximum of 50,000 characters allowed per cell. So within one of these cells, like this here, this cell itself can only hold 50,000 characters, which is a lot. Like that's massive. So some of these sites, like e-commerce or blog heavy sites or like really, really massive sites, will make you breach the 50,000 character limit, and you won't be able to upload to Google Sheets just by, into one cell. So over here was like a separate flow that I was working on, but I kind of left it incomplete. Again, guys, this is a template that will get you started. There's a lot of different ways that you can take this. So you can, this is just like a kind of like an abandoned ship over here. But basically at this flow, you can just check how many characters were returned from the website. Because when we're adding into Google Sheets, we're taking every single page and putting it into one cell. So what's happening here? We have page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every page that we return from this, this list of URLs, which could be 20, 30, 40, 50 URLs, it could be a massive site. We're just adding it into one cell for now. So this is a very kind of beginner kind of level approach. To beef it up, you could just check how many characters are in that like website cell, and every 50,000 characters, you could break it up into smaller chunks, and then you could basically upload it via the Google Sheets link or, with an actual HTTP call. So you'd have to just authenticate this app over here. And then you could add each cell in that same row would contain up to 50,000 characters of the website. And you can see here how, again, that's like, it's a pretty robust solution, but it does have a lot of opportunity to increase the ability to handle bigger websites. We tried over here and we had that one website that kind of stung us, that it didn't have robots, didn't have sitemap. So like you might have another flow over here that if all of these fail, for example, you might go into a third flow where you just hit the homepage directly and you try and pre-scrape to look at all the URLs. So it's very interesting. There's actually a lot of stuff that you can get here. And I want to go back to this page, which is this sitemap page. Let me see. I might actually run it one more time because there was like really interesting information that we can get from here. And this is the point that I had at the start of the video where I'm like, did I make this point at the start of the video? Where if you're using like a paid scraping tool, maybe you don't have nuance to control the data that you get back. So sometimes a custom tool, although it is a bit of a headache to build something out and to deal with all the, edge cases and try and make it robust to handle all the different, whatever you need to do, it is very tedious to build something like this out, but it's very rewarding in terms of what data you can get back. So if we look at the XML data here, where is it? Converted down. So yeah, when you're actually looking at, and this is meant to be the category pages of XML that we return. So that's this stuff here, right? It's still one level up, and then each category page will have access to the URL. So this is a beefy website, right? And when we're over here, we're essentially taking all the category XML pages, we're converting them into a format that we can then later use to actually go into each of those separate URLs. So in here, in the data set that you get here, we're technically looking for all these LOC tagged items, which is just the URLs of the actual, like this is a gluten-free pizza, that, it might be a list of all the pizzas on the website. But they also have some other metadata attached, like when was it last modified? What are the images that are attached to that page? Sometimes there's different types of images and metadata that are available in this data set that if you just kind of look at, what you're looking for, what you want to do, you can find quite a lot of information, just in this kind of data set here. And you can see I've stripped it down to only include the URLs that we want. So that data set of that pizza place, which is this birrificio, from this place, you can see we only have like a list of 6 URLs. And that's all the metadata that we pulled out, but we actually have an S load of metadata here. Look at this. Look what we could do with this. I don't even know what you would want to do with this, to be honest. I'm kind of just gassing this process up, but there is definitely stuff that you could get a little bit deeper on here that you might not get with the paid API tools. I'm not shitting on those tools. I reckon they're fantastic and for a certain use case, but yeah, if you do want to get started with a bit more of a comprehensive solution, a cheaper solution, then this is the template to use. Now, I'm going to maybe make this available on my Gumroad, so if there is a link somewhere below, go to it. But if you're a business and you want to scrape sites for lead gen or part of your process, or you have a bunch of URLs that you want to get, you want to monitor on a regular basis, reach out to me. I'll do this kind of stuff as part of my agency, so I'm really happy to help you out. But otherwise, I reckon you could totally build this out yourself. It will take you a little bit of back and forth on kind of testing out, different websites and whatever else, but it's totally possible. Like all the stuff that you see here, and I see a lot of people putting up lots of cool stuff on YouTube, it's all possible to do by yourself. So 100% give it a go, but if you can't figure it out, reach out to me. All right, thanks guys. See ya.